I am naming the document, but that same method for selecting one thing and typing in its place, hey, that works here as well. Again, don't worry if you don't see the .docx on the end of that. It's too early to talk about that. Don't worry about it if you don't see it. All right, so I'm changing its name to working large document. I'm changing where I'm going to put it. I brought it in from Word sample files. I'm now saving it in finished Word documents, and I finish that off either by hitting the Enter key or clicking the Save button. And you may notice on my screen right now, let me magnify that, I'm getting a little notice that says your document will be upgraded to the newest file format, which means I won't be working in compatibility mode anymore. Now, if what I want to do is edit this document and then send it back by email attachment to somebody who is still using 2003 version of this, then you can see I would need to make a change here. Instead of choosing OK, I would have to do this. Now watch my screen for just a moment. I'm not going to have you do this, but here's what I would have to do. I'd have to click on Cancel. And then right down here where it says it's going to save it as a Word document, this is a list box. Here's a list arrow here. If I click in that list box, one of my choices is to save it as a Word 97 to 2003 document. And again, you might not see the file name extensions on the end of your documents, but a 2003 file would end in .doc, whereas a normal now Word document would be .docx. By the way, if you don't see any year number attached to that, you're supposed to just understand that means the squeaky, shiny, new version of that. Okay, so I'm backing out of there. I am going to save it as a Word document, which is the default choice. And I'm saving that over here into my finished Word documents. And I'm changing its name from Practice Large Document to Working Large Document. So I'd like you to do the same. You should get this little message that says you're now going to have this in the 2007, 2010, 2013, 2016 file format. It uses the same format for all of those. I click on OK or I hit the Enter key. So here's my new name up in the title bar, Working Large Document. Notice it no longer says Compatibility Mode. So your turn to do that. You're going to use the Save As command. You can use F12 if you want the keyboard shortcut. You have opened it from the downloading folder. You're going to save it into the finished Word documents folder, and you're changing its name from Practice Large Document to Working Large Document. All right, catch up with me there, everybody. Now that we've got a document that's a little bit larger than we've been working with, let's talk about navigating around in this document. Now the name of it says Working Large Document, but as I look in the lower left-hand corner here, it's really a 3-page document, so it's not like the thing is really huge here. Let's talk about navigating slowly up and down. I can use my mouse to move over here into the scroll bar, and I can click on the down pointing arrow. So notice if I click to put my flashing insertion point over here at this space, and then I move to the bottom of the scroll bar and click in the little arrow, I'm moving my view down, but I'm not moving the cursor down. If, on the other hand, I go to the keyboard and I start tapping the down arrow key, at first I am moving the cursor. But when the cursor gets to the bottom of the screen and I keep hitting the down arrow key, now I'm actually scrolling down. And the difference between that and using the arrows on the scroll bar is using the arrows on my keyboard moves the cursor as it scrolls. Using the arrows on the scroll bar doesn't move the cursor, it only moves my viewpoint. I can move a little bit faster if I hold the Control key and start tapping up and down arrow keys. Now at first it's a little bit tough to figure out how does it decide where it should stop. Well, I can solve that riddle if I turn on the pilcrows. So here I am at the beginning of the paragraph with my cursor. Control down arrow key, move to the next pilcrow. Next pilcrow, control down arrow key. Control down arrow key. Next paragraph. Next pilcrow. Beginning of the next paragraph, next pilcrow. So that's going a paragraph at a time when I'm holding the Control key and tapping the down arrow key. What if I want to move a whole screen's worth at a time? Well, if I move my mouse over here, I notice this scroll box that I can grab and drag in the scroll bar. But if I want to go a whole screen at a time, I can put my mouse under the scroll box in the scroll bar and click, and it will jump down one screen at a time. Now, I don't need to move the mouse right below the scroll box. I can move it way down here, and then every time I click, it goes one screen at a time until it catches up to me. I can also do that with a couple of keys on my keyboard. There's a key on my keyboard marked Page Up, and every time I tap that Page Up key, it is just like clicking above the scroll box in the scroll bar. I move one screen at a time. Notice the Page Up and Page Down key don't necessarily move me to the bottom of the next printed page. They move me to the bottom of the next screen's worth. As far as whether I get to the bottom of the printed page, that's dependent on how far I am zoomed in and zoomed out. So the keys that say Page Up and Page Down, names are a little bit misleading. They really should be called Screen Up and Screen Down. So why don't you just take just a moment and try out some of those methods that I've been using. Grabbing the scroll box, clicking above or below the scroll box, using the down arrow key to move the cursor, using the down arrow on the scroll bar to move your viewpoint without moving the cursor, Control and up arrow, Control and down arrow to move one paragraph,